Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your weekend to do your practice test. I'm going to run through, show you how I would work out the problems, and show you the answers. So your first question that you had was, which number is equal to 46,000? When you have problems where it has like 46 tens, 46 hundreds, we did these in class, and if you remember, what we look at is the place value that's mentioned, so like tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, you're thinking about the number of zeros in those numbers. So for example, in the number 10, there's 1 0. So I'm going to put 1 0 down and then write in the 46. Or you could do 46 and write in the number of zeros, which might actually be easier. So 46, the number 100 has 2 zeros. I have 46, and then I have thousands, which has 3 zeros, and then I have 46, and then 10,000, which has 4 zeros. And so after I'm done writing then, I'm going to look back up in my question, which number is equal to 46,000. I'm going to compare, and my answer's right there. So on the first one, you should have C, which number is equal to 46,000? It's 46,000. Okay, name the number 456 in 2 different ways. So we actually did a bunch of these, and if you guys remember in your math notebook the one day, we made that chart. It looked like this, and in one part we had number standard form, then we had word form, and we had expanded form. So it looked like that. It was an entire page. So any of those would have been fine here. So you could have done word form and done 456 like that. You could have done expanded form and gone 400 plus 50 plus 6. You could have also done a picture and gone with 4 hundreds, 5 tens, and 6 ones. Any of those would have been acceptable answers. So remember, we had written, expanded, and our picture. Okay, next one, 3. The library has 40,000 books. How many bookshelves would the library need if each bookshelf held 1,000 books? Show your work. We worked on one similar to this today. And so there's a couple different ways to approach it. One way is to look at the number you're counting by. So in this case, you're counting by 1,000, and you have to ask yourself, how many thousands can you count in 40,000? Okay. The other way you can do it is you can cross out zeros, and when you cross out the common zeros, you're left with what would be left if you divided. And I know we haven't done division yet, but that's basically a simplistic way of dividing, or a simple way of dividing is to cross off the zeros, the common zeros. So what you end up with then in the end is 40. So if a bookshelf holds 1,000 books and you have 40,000 books, there's 40 1,000s in 40,000. Okay? All right, next one. Football is one of the most popular games in the United States. 71,376 people went to see a football game last fall. Label this number with its place value. So this is really simple. We did this the first day. So we have the ones place, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. So going backwards, you have 10,000, 1,000, 100, tens, and ones. And then the place value underneath, you're just adding the zeros as you go along. So the 7, there's no zeros and ones. Tens, there's 1 0. And then the 6, hundreds, you put the number, 2 zeros. Thousands, the number, 3 zeros. 10,000, the number, and 4 zeros. So that's what your chart should end up looking like. So you have 70,000, 1,000, 3,000, 60, and 7. It's basically a lot like expanded form. Okay? All right, if you turn your page over, all right, there's a word problem. And again, this is similar to one that we've worked on in class, and that we've done in class. It says use the number 9,999 to explain the relationship between ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. Support your answer using a drawing. So here's the answer to this, and we've talked about this in class and talked about it. So when you have your place values, so if I write out the numbers and I put them in a chart and I say this is ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, okay? The difference between the 9 and the 90 is times 10. The difference between the 90 and a 900 is times 10, and the difference between the 900 and the 9,000 is times 10. So if you're looking at a number, every time you slide to the left, the place value is 10 times the size as the one next to it. Okay? So if you're writing an answer for that, basically that's what I'd put. I would say the place value to the left is 10 times greater than the place value before it. Okay? We're going to work a little bit more with written responses on the test, and we're going to do some practice problems like that on Monday when you guys get into class. I know we have done a little bit of it, but we're going to do a little bit more. And when you guys take your test on Tuesday, there's going to be some 4 opportunities where you can write and pick up a 4. Okay, so down here on the bottom, all right, you have, which is another way to write 508,610. So what I like to do with it is I read each set of words, and as I read it, I look back up and I check things off. So watch how I do it. I say 500,600, and when I got to the 600, I noticed that I missed the 8 there, so I know that's not it. Okay, 5,008, I have that. 610. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one because that one sounds good. So 5,008, 8,000. As I read it again, I'm actually going to change my mind on that because I have thousands and thousands. So it's really important, as you can see what I just did. You got to reread sometimes, look back over things, because you have thousand and thousand. Okay. All right, 508,000, 508, 610. Okay, I like that. I'm going to reread it just like I did the first one, or the second one, just to make sure. 508,610. I like it. And just to be sure, though, I'm going to read the last one. 508,600. There's no 10 on the last one. So on that one, your answer is C. Okay, next one. There were 37,527 cars that traveled through the Eisenhower Tunnel in Colorado. What is this numbered in standard form? So one thing I like to do when it's the other way, this one it gave you a number and then it put the words below. This one has the words and it puts the numbers below. I like to write the numbers that I see above it. So 37,000, so I'm going to put a 37, and then I have 527. 527 cars traveled through. When I look at this, this is really like my place values. So this is 37, and it's my thousands. And then the 527 is my hundreds, tens, and ones. So this is the number that I'm looking for, 37,527. So 37,527, 37,527, 37,527. So then, once I have it written down, I can compare, look, pick out my answer. Okay? All right, next one. It's a place value picture, which we also did when we were doing our different forms of place value. So remember, the cubes are thousands, the flat squares are hundreds, the blocks are tens, and if I had any little tiny single cubes, they'd be ones. So I'm just going to count these up. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And a lot of times, like with the pictures, I just take them and I group them together. So like those are my 6, and that's thousands. And I label it. Okay. This is my, I have 4, and it's hundreds. And then over here I have, my paper's moving, I have 3, and these are tens, and then there's no ones, so I'm going to put 0 ones. Okay, and then I'm just going to build my number. So I have 6, 4, 3, 0. So that should be my answer, 6,430. Okay, all right, we are on to our second page, our last page, and we have 2 problems here. Okay, the San Diego Zoo has a baby elephant that weighs 750 pounds, a young rhinoceros that weighs 1,200 pounds, and a hippopotamus that weighs 1,700 pounds. Place the 3 weights on the number line. So here's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm just going to go through. I'm going to find the different numbers that I have to place on the number line. I'm going to circle them in my problem, and I'm going to go through and place them. So I have 750, so my spots are 0 to 500, 500 to 1,000, 1,000 to 1,500, 1,500 to 2,000. So this first one, I'm going to put it right here. So I have 750. I can label it if I want. I'm going to put elephant. Okay, the rhino is 1,200. Put that there. Rhino, and then the hippopotamus is 17. So I'm going to go there, like that. So that should be my number line. So I should have elephant, rhino, and then the hippo down at the end. Okay, all right, last one. All right, create a number that would round to 30,000 when rounding to the underlined digit. Okay, so if you look at my underlined digit here, I'm rounding to the nearest 10,000. So what I want to do here is, we did a lot with rounding, so you have to remember that when you round to a digit, you have to look at the number before it and decide whether you're rounding up or down. Since it says that I'm going to round to the number, I can do this a couple ways. The easiest way for me is, I always like rounding up, so I can put the number down as something like 29,789. When I look at this, I can circle the 2. I look next door, it's a 9. I'm going to round up, which changes that to 30,000. If you prefer to round down, you could do something that's a little bit bigger than 30,000. So you could do like 31,250. Circle your 3. Look next door, it's a 1, so it goes down. So again, 30,000. Really, on this problem, and there's a couple of problems like this that are going to be on your test, there's multiple right answers. So what I do is, I just decide if I'm rounding up, if I'm rounding down, and then go ahead and just pick one of those 2 ways, whichever I feel most comfortable with, put down the number, I double check it, and I go with it. So that should be what you have. I hope you did well on this, and I'm glad again that you took time to do your practice test. When you turn in your test on Monday, make sure your name is on it, like that. And if you could, on it, put a number 7, put a circle around it. I will give you your dojo points. Thank you. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on Monday. Thank you.